So, this is a game you've probably never heard of, but after this, it's a game you're never going to forget. So this is Pack and Roll Remix. Before I get started, I'll quickly tell you what this game is, because it's a little bit unconventional. So Pack and Roll was originally released for the DS in 2005, and this is sort of an updated version of the game, released for the Wii, as part of the Namco Museum Remix and Namco Museum Megamix compilations, but it is a completable game. And this game goes by super duper quickly, and there's a lot to explain, so we're going to go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so the main movement tech in this game is just rolling around since you're a limbless ball, and this boost that you have that you can get by shaking the Weir mode. And the boost allows you to break open boxes, which you'll need to do a few times in the run. And then you can also gain a burst of speed, and if you boost off of a really steep incline, you can actually gain quite a bit of height, and this will be useful for some skips and shortcuts throughout the game, as well as just some other strats. And then, sort of the main goal of each level in this run, for the most part, is just to get to the goal platform at the very end. And in most levels, that entails going through these green barriers known as Gobble Skates, where you need to collect a specific amount of pack dots in order to get past them. Some of them are skippable, but for the most part, these levels are just going to be kind of about routing out the best possible routes to take in order to get the pack dots with the minimum amount of backtracking and minimum log going out of your way required. Another interesting bit of tech in this game is the ability to stop yourself by using either the B or Z buttons, and this has several applications. One of them is that you can stop your momentum dead and then immediately redirect that momentum somewhere else. Like you just saw me do there. If you watch the task of this game by Ilamabi, which you should do immediately after this run, you'll see it done all over the place. Unfortunately, I am not that good at reacting, so I can't exactly do that. Another nice feature that braking allows you to do is that you can kind of avoid getting recoiled by from breaking into boxes like that. I just went super high there. That happens sometimes. This game's kind of jank. And that just allows me to not keep Pac-Man from rolling all over the place whenever he hits something. So we got a lot to talk about already. In this level, we're introduced to the first of 2 different powers in this game, the Night Pack card. So Night Pack is a little bit heavier than regular Pac-Man, but he is able to break those metal boxes, which a normal Pac can't do, and he can go underwater, so he is usually required in stages that he's in. He's just a little bit slower to use. So as you can see there, I went out of my way the minimum amount required in order to get all the pack dots there. This game has actually seen a pretty big influx of optimizations lately, so I might PB this run, but it's unlikely. So in 1.5, I'm supposed to use that Light Pack card there. That pink card gives me Light Pack. It basically makes your physics really broken, because you just, you fall super, super slowly, and then, not only that, but you can get a lot of height when you do stuff like slow boosts and whatnot, but normal Pack moves on the ground slightly faster. So by keeping normal Pack for the entire stage, I can make a slightly faster platform cycle here. And that's it for World 1. So now we're going to be heading on to World 2. Here we are going to use Light Pack for one of the biggest skips in the run by far. So I'm going to grab Light Pack here, and then using a slow boost, I can get to a section of the level that's normally inaccessible until the very end. And then I can use ledge grab hops to get here, and then by using a precise ledge grab hop here, I can actually enter the goal platform without opening the gate. So that's the first gate skip in the run. It saves about 35 seconds or so. Now, this level also has a gate skip, but it is currently task only. And even if it did become RTA viable, getting it set up for it would probably if it even became humanly viable, it probably wouldn't be RTA viable, so we're just gonna get the 80 pack dots required in order to open the gate. We can use these jump pads here to take some shortcuts, though. So I need to open this gate because I need to get this Light Pack card so I can get to the end of the level. The task is able to boost up there with a normal Pack, but it's just slightly out of reach for a human. And then this level is a pretty massive tease, so in this level, the goal platform is actually located right behind where you start, but it's not actually possible to slow boost to there, even though it seems like it should be. It's just barely not possible. So I do have to go through this entire level, where there's a lot of pack dots I need to collect. even worse than that, that skip is actually possible in the DS version, but the changed physics in this game make it impossible here. So that just makes it even more painful. But the skip would save over a minute. It would save about a minute if it were doable, so Glitch Hunters, get on it. And as you can see here, having excess pack dots after gates in some situations is also pretty handy, because then I can, if there's later sections where I have to otherwise go out of my way, I can avoid having to do that. Another optimization is that you might have noticed that I already have all the levels in the game completed. Nothing changes in the base game whether you beat all the levels ahead of time or not. And there's a few reasons for this. One is that Namco Museum Megamix autosaves, so it wastes time to have to... it would waste time to have... It would be a massive pain to have to wipe your game data every single time you want to do runs, so that's just to avoid doing that. And also allows me to have those extra bars of health for stuff later in the run. So, this is the first fight against Golbus. He's the antagonist of, he's the antagonist of the original Hack and Roll. These fights kind of all function the same way. Basically, you have to eat 3 power pellets to turn Golbus vulnerable, and then he'll be eatable, and you have to do this a total of 3 times. The power pellets always spawn at the same location, so by memorizing where they are, you can get to them pretty quickly. You're supposed to, this power pellet right here can be a little bit tricky to get. You're supposed to use Night Pack to get it, but you can kind of just very precisely get it while just sitting in the water like that. And I have to wait for Golbus to come here anyways, otherwise I'd have to hunt him down, and that usually takes a while. So there's World 2 done. So now we're off to World 3. This is a part of the run where I'd say the run really ramps up in difficulty. 3-1 is definitely one of the more reset-heavy levels in the run. So, I kind of just have to wait on this platform to go the entire way across, because due to the nature of crowding in the stage and how the cycles work, you really just can't complete the stage any faster. I do have to be careful not to miss pack dots, otherwise I'll have to go slightly out of my way in later sections and adjust my route a little bit. Oh, that's not good. So there is a cycle in the ending section the second section I want to make. Missing that cycle was about 10 seconds. And and the time loss from having to get extra pack dots instead is it's less than that. So I'm gonna have to take an altered route here. So I need to get on that cart in order to get to these later platforms to get some pack dots. But once I get enough pack dots here, I can actually just head on out. And then I can slow boost to these final sets of platforms. And since I messed up my route earlier, I'm going to have to do a little something special here. I'm going to have to sledge grab over here. And I'll have exactly enough pack dots to finish the level. So that didn't cost me too much time, but with the level of optimization this game is at, I would consider that a major mistake. But overall, not too bad. So here's a 2-3, there's a 2-2, or 3-2. Getting mixed up here. So there's a lot of different ways to go about this beginning of this level. I'm going to kind of just take the standard approach here. So I need to grab some underwater pack dots, so I'm going to grab Night Pack here. And getting past these ghosts on the way back is an absolute pain. Since I missed a pack dot earlier, I'm going to go out of my way here to grab this power pellet isn't normally in the route. I'm doing a few more boosts than otherwise. But if you're watching this pass, it just does boosts everywhere, and it's amazing to watch. So you can actually skip grabbing that normal pack card, but since normal pack moves so much faster than Night Pack, it's actually worth it to go ahead and grab it for this section, even though I do now have to take a little bit of time to eat Blinky here to get the Night Pack card so I can finish the stage. That was a little bit unclean, but not too bad. And then 3-3, this level is basically all about cycles with these ghost platforms. The standard RTA cycle here is fairly generous as long as you have good control of Pac-Man. You can technically complete this level a cycle faster, but that's stupid. It requires a lot of really, really stupid maneuvers. So we're just going to kind of opt for the standard here. And I have one spare pack dot for these first 2 sections, so I kind of had to be a little bit stingy there. And then here I'm going to try to minimize the time I spend waiting on these platforms here. I'm grab 3 pack dots from there, then boost back, and then I'm going to try to grab all the pack dots from this side and then make it back without losing my ride. And then I have to play quickly enough here to make the cycle here, but shouldn't be too bad. So another thing to point out is that deaths in this game are usually pretty bad, as well as updating any scores of any kind or beating IL times, because then I have to deal with a 4-second autosave after the stage that wastes that amount of time. So I'm going to try to avoid that whenever possible in this run. So here's 3-4. This level I'm going to be particularly stingy about pack dots. Partly because okay, so this first section just doesn't have a whole lot of spares to begin with. But the big thing with this level is that there is a roller coaster at the very end of this level. That's kind of an auto-scroller, and if you pay attention to the upper left-hand corner, so the lower left-hand corner is the amount of pack dots I need to open the gate, and then the upper left-hand corner is the amount of pack dots I currently have in my inventory. I need to have that number reach 80 in order to open the last Galvus gate, because there's no way to skip it. So I need to ride this roller coaster until I get to that 80 pack dot requirement. But once I do reach that 80 pack dot requirement, I can actually intentionally die, and I will respawn back at the checkpoint, but with all 80 pack dots still in my inventory, so that will speed up the end of the stage by a little bit. And I know I said just like a minute ago that getting that 4-second long autosave would waste time, but here that time loss is outweighed by the time save of skipping the roller coaster. And the fewer pack dots to miss, the sooner you can die, which is why you need to not miss any. So here comes the autosave I was talking about. I have all my scores maxed out. My IL times are usually pretty good, so unless I die or barely beat an IL time, you shouldn't see any of the autosaves. Here's the free boss. This is definitely one of the scarier stages in the run, because you have very little room to work with, and it's very easy to get knocked off by Galvus. The second phase in particular is very difficult. Weave around here. If you die in a boss fight, you have to redo the entire fight. So for this third phase, I don't want Galvus to stay on the cake, and I also want to keep him stun locked, so I'm going to eat these power pellets at specific times. So I waited a little bit there, and there you go. That was a really good stage. Alright. So that's it for World 3. Now it's time for World 4. So this is definitely the hardest world in any percent by a long shot for a variety of reasons. A lot of runs don't get out of this world. So 4-1 has a skip that is not in world record runs yet and has only ever been pulled off once RTA, but because it's a marathon, I'm going to go for it. Let's see if I can do this. I'll give us like one good hit. I didn't get it. So what I was trying to do there was do what's known as a bounce boost on top of those platforms in order to get enough momentum to clear the barriers blocking off the third section of this level. That would actually allow me to do a double gate skip, but it's very, very precise. And like I said, it's only ever been pulled off once. It would have saved me about like 10 to 15 seconds if I had gotten it, but sadly, it just wasn't meant to be. This level's still just difficult in general, though, because you have to get every pack dot in every section of the level. Right, that was a very clean ending there. I was able to stick to the ground there. Being airborne does cost you a little bit of speed. So 4-2, another pretty straightforward level, pretty simple. Just gotta go around and find a bunch of pack dots. There's a lot of obstacles here, so there's gonna be a lot of times where I need to take damage. Boost through here, right there. And here I'm gonna grab light packs so I can skip some of these platforms. So the task is able to skip the last 2 gates in this level, but due to both invisible walls and the Galvus gates have way bigger hitboxes than they let on. And there's also wind surrounding the gates in these levels, so that you can't just jump around them easily. That makes the skips, for the moment, not humanly viable, and they would barely save any time anyways, so you're probably not going to be seeing those in RTA anyways. That was a pretty good ending. Overall, not too bad of a level. Okay, so 4-3, I am sort of bound by a platform cycle as soon as this, from the moment of the stage, so no matter how fast I go here, it doesn't really matter as long as I make the cycle. The task can make this a cycle faster, but as far as I'm concerned, humans can't make it. Yeah, it might look like I'm barely missing that cycle, but I've never been able to make that in real time. But this cycle is free. And then coming up is probably one of my favorite parts of the run movement-wise. I think you'll really enjoy it. So I'm going to be able to do a boost here, and then I'm going to kind of get recoiled by that bounce pad. And I can kind of roll all the way around here, and then boost off here. And I'm going to try to get it packed off until I get exactly 55. Alright. And now it's time for 4-4. This is definitely one of the hardest stages in the run. So this is kind of just a long downward spiraling path. And you would think that there's massive opportunities to just jump from higher sections to lower sections, but this game's kill plane system... nearly died there. This game's kill plane system kind of makes that not difficult to get. In fact, we've only ever been able to find one shortcut here, and I'm about to attempt it. I'll give it like 1 or 2 good attempts, but it's very, very precise. So, here we go. This might not work. Wow, I got that first try. That is way, way more precise than I just made it look. And even then, this stage is still difficult because since you're boosting a lot of the time to maintain speed, holding the slightest wrong angle means Pac-Man will just veer off in a random direction, fall off, and die. And dying in this stage is usually pretty bad because checkpoints are very sparse. So, dying in this stage basically means your run is over. We're living. That was a very good level. I'm really glad I got that skip first try. That skip is probably the most recent big development to this game. And that was found by this game's tasser, Elomabi, so major shoutouts to him. And then here in 4-5, we're going to be making use of another massive technique known as a bounce boosting and lava boosting. So you saw me do it in a 4-1, but when you boost on the first frame you come into contact with a bounce pad or lava, you will enter a boost state and get the speed boost from it. And so I can utilize this in this level a few different ways. So I can use it with these bounce pads in order to skip a bunch of them. And then I can also do the same thing on lava, and I can use it to skip a bunch of the falling lava towers that you normally have to climb up. Unfortunately, it is a frame perfect and requires a motion control based input. So it's very hard to do consistently. This level is also cycle based, and depending on how well you do the stage, you can make cycles that are like up to 6 seconds faster. So this, I think, is the normal cycle. You can make a cycle faster than this, but this is still pretty good for this run. I just gotta do one final set of lava. This is also where having the extra bars of health comes in handy. That was a very good 4-5. Considering I didn't make the fastest cycle. Okay, so here's the World 4 boss. This first phase is kind of stupid, because you can slow boost to these power pellets to get them early, but Galvus just rotates the popper in a bunch of random directions, so sometimes it's not possible, like you saw there. And then this is a strat that's very difficult. Nice, I got it. So by slow boosting to that power pellet early, I'm able to get this eat on Galvus a little bit earlier, and that can also help me speed up the third phase of this fight by a little bit, because this platform won't be fully done stabilizing. It's not quite how I wanted it to go, but not too bad. It's a very tough stage to optimize because it is just kind of random. And now we're into World 5. So this is a world that's actually exclusive to the Wii version of the game. And in this world, every single level here has a major skip. And in the task, this is actually the fastest level in the game, but unfortunately that's not doable here. So as you notice there, the gold platform is located right next to where you start, but the game intentionally increases your gravity around the zone where the gold platform is to prevent you from just skipping there. You can get past this with normal pack, but that setup for that isn't humanly viable yet. So we need to grab light pack and go to this first gate. And then I need to do this very precise slope boost here. And get to the gold platform early like that. So that skip saves about like 50 seconds. And you know how I said you can't really fall from beginning to end in these levels? That doesn't apply to 5.2 and 5.3. These levels are super broken. And then there's also another gate skip I can do here, with a slope boost here. And 5.3, this level, it goes by pretty quickly. Okay, so 5.4, this is the final regular stage in the run. So this level does have a gate skip, but unfortunately, it is not very marathon safe. And because it only saves about like 10 seconds, and failing it means death, and you lose way more time than the skip actually saves. So I'm just gonna kind of opt to do the no gate skip route here. And the skip is also very, very precise, in case you were wondering. So if I can go this back once here. Oh, I'm gonna miss that one. Okay. I don't know what cycles I'm on now. I think I'm on my regular cycles, I'm not actually sure. So there is another big skip coming up at the end here, but there's a bunch of other cycles I need to worry about. Alright, hammer didn't bot me, that's good. I'm gonna use a body up here. So you can just kind of use those bounce pads and light pack to get to the final gear of the level. That takes about like 25 to 30 seconds. And here is the final fight against Galvis. This fight works in 2 stages. This first stage is mostly just a lot of boosting around. I have to be very careful to not fall off here, which is very easy to happen. These first 2 phases were pretty good. And I really don't want to die in these fights. Okay, got very close to dying there, but it was super good. So now we're coming up on the final portion of this fight. So in this part of the fight, Galvis is going to spawn some ghosts that have power pellets on them. I'm actually going to reserve them for the 3rd phase, because if I eat them, those ghosts with the power pellets as Galvis is spawning in, I will actually do damage to him. And if I get all 3 hits on him, I will cancel the spawning animation, and I will actually be able to eat him early, which saves about 10 seconds. This is another oversight that was found by Elo Lobby. So the route I'm going to be doing here is kind of weird, but trust me, it works out. And this also means that time is going to be coming up very soon. Okay, so we're getting ready on time here. It's just 1, 2, 3, and time. Alright. So 22:43, that is actually marathon world record by 6 seconds. So the actual world record in this game is a 22:12, but that is not going to stand forever. It is very possible that record could be lowered in the coming days and weeks and months. So both this game and SMG2 I'm going to be running actively over the next couple months, and I'm going to hope for some good improvements in them. So please run this game, by the way. No one runs it, and it needs more runners. So yeah, thanks to SpeedGaming for having me, and with that is it for me for this event. I hope you've enjoyed my runs, and I will throw it on over to the hosts.